The devastation of the ship that blew up in Beirut carrying ammonium nitrate that produced this huge mushroom cloud and damage for about 6 kilometers. There is now a ship off Margate in Kent that has got 7 times that amount of ammonium nitrate. The ship has got cracks in the hull, rudder problems. It's being towed. It wants to go to Malta. Nobody seems to want to give it permission to go into their waters. So it couldn't go back through past Denmark to get back into Russian waters. It comes from Russia. It's a Maltese flagged ship. So its cargo is Russian. There's 7 times the amount of ammonium nitrate that exploded in Beirut. And it's now stuck on the edge of the English Channel. And it needs permission to go through those waters, presumably to get round into the Bay of Biscay, where it will face very nasty tides, and then into past Gibraltar and into the Mediterranean towards Malta. I don't see any conceivable way in which it's going to get to Malta, first of all. Secondly, where it's stationed, where it's stuck near Margate, it's bad enough that it's near, that it's within the scope of a built-up area. So if it were to explode, if the conditions were right that would lead to its explosion, you have to imagine an explosion which is 7 times bigger than the explosion in Beirut. That is astronomical. And that would cover much of Kent. If it were to explode where it is, it's very close to the SS Montgomery, which is a World War II munitions ship loaded with unexploded weapons that has been there since World War II, unstable. If the ammonium nitrate were to explode, then the ship would also explode as well. The SS Montgomery would also explode as well. So this isn't simply an explosion which is 7 times bigger than the explosion in Beirut. It would be intensified by the munitions explosion too. This is a ship, the Ruby, which is being towed by tugs. And it's a ship with no apparent destination. Because it can't get to where it's trying to go to. Nobody wants it. And it's like a secret Russian weapon, isn't it, really? It's very difficult not to see this as intentional. It's dangerous. It's something that could produce environmental damage of astronomical proportions. I've used the word astronomical twice. And nobody wants it. So what to do? Because if it were to go into the channel, which is 21 miles wide, and it were to explode there, it would not only affect built-up areas in Britain, it would also affect built-up areas in France, and it would decimate one of the biggest shipping channels in the world. And so, without causing alarm, this is probably as big a story as the Ukraine-Russia war and the Israeli land incursion in Lebanon, sort of part 2 of the response to the Gaza terrorist attack, literally coinciding almost to the year, or almost to the day, a year after the Hamas assault and the capture of the hostages. So there are these 3 big problems, all of them explosive, and Iran waiting in the corner to pounce. Should Iran pounce on either of the 2 big war zones, it's likely that Russia would be involved as well. A Russia-Iranian alliance would bring in NATO and the US. But an explosion in the middle of the channel, that is dangerous. That is dangerous in its own right. And while Putin is playing with exploding the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, I'm sure that he's also very well aware of this ship. It wouldn't take very much. We've got two major explosions which can be blamed on accident, but the finger of Putin is behind both. I find this very, very worrying indeed. I'd be very interested in your comments, and please leave them below with your recommendations. Maybe somebody will look and make some forceful decision. Could this ship be towed into into an area where there isn't any shipping, somewhere into the Atlantic? Would it even get that far? And then sunk or blown up? But if it's sunk, is it not going to damage the environment significantly? Could it be sunk and blown up at the same time? I don't understand how we get rid of this, and I don't understand how any country can ship so much so much of a dangerous chemical in one go in a boat that is not seaworthy.